if we move forwards and we talk about games over the weekend, I think really all eyes are on that 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Man City versus Liverpool, arguably game of the weekend. I mean, what are the early thoughts generally? Wayne, Paul, what are you thinking? Last time Man City faced Liverpool at lunchtime, Liverpool lost 4-1 at the Etihad.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are the ramifications from the South American matches near Laos this morning are huge. Liverpool had Liverpool had 4 players involved who would be expected to be in the starting 11: McAllister, Alisson, Darwin Núñez, and Luis Diaz. Liverpool have apparently chartered a private jet to bring those 4 players home because Klopp and the coaching staff want them in training tomorrow in full readiness and preparation for Saturday. They don't want them to have to miss out training tomorrow and then just train on Friday ahead of Saturday lunchtime. So I think those 4 players and their ability and sort of physical readiness for Saturday is really, really important, I think. Man City have only got Alvarez from the South American contingent who's likely to start. Liverpool got 4. I think that's absolutely huge. I mean, I would say Alisson is probably Liverpool's second most important player after Salah, and Núñez is probably in the top 3 or 4 based on how he's been playing this season. So that is absolutely key. Haaland's injury, I'm putting inverted commas, finger marks, people who are just listening to this. Apparently he's going to be fine for Saturday, and I'd fully expect him to be fine. He pulled out the Norway-Scotland game the other night. I think his physical readiness is obviously absolutely vital for the outcome as well. But it suits Man City, definitely, the 12:30 kickoff, much more than Liverpool.
Absolutely. Paul, do you think... Oh, sorry, go on, Paul, you say.
I was going to pick up on Wayne's point then about Haaland pulling out. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but so did Rodri, and so did John Stones.
Yeah.
Manchester City players pulled out of international games that were dead rubbers, if you like.
Yeah.
Rodri pulled out the Spain squad, John Stones out the England squad. As we know, he's going out for a while, though. But Rodri pulling out as well. It'll be interesting to see whether he's fit to play.
I mean, that stinks a bit, doesn't it? I mean, it's happened for forever, isn't it? I mean, Man United players always used to pull out with mysterious injuries for friendly matches, didn't they? With Paul Scholes, etc., Roy Keane. I mean, it's not right, is it? I mean, obviously, Brazil and Argentina, because the South American players are in very big qualifying groups. There's so many fixtures in those groups, whereas the European qualifying is nowhere near as competitive. I mean, the level of some of the matches is embarrassing, isn't it? And I think, no wonder Cristiano Ronaldo scored 128 international goals. I think, Paul, you could probably strap your boots on and go back in goal, couldn't you, for some of these matches?
I was in goal for Gibraltar the other night, though, put it that way.
Oh, yeah. Goodness gracious. Only 14 conceded.
Maybe France at home. I think you'd be all right there.
You'd be better. Talking of things that are a bit sort of dodgy, I think the other thing that's worth talking about is Klopp being annoyed about the 12:30 kickoff. Now, this will be the 13th game following the international break that Liverpool are going to be playing at lunchtime. That's 7 more than Spurs and Chelsea, who sit in second. Does Klopp have the right to be annoyed at that? It must be quite infuriating for him. Time after time, Liverpool get put down for 12:30. It must be really infuriating.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, you sit and listen to managers and they moan about fixture pile-ups, fixture congestion. We're playing too many games. We've got too many fixtures. That's rubbish. They know what they sign up for at the beginning of the season. If they want to be successful, they want to play in the Champions League and they want to be at the top echelons of English football, you're going to play 2 games a week, regardless. You're going to travel and you're going to be playing that amount of fixtures. But when you're given the 12 o'clocks every week, that's when I can understand managers' frustrations. But the flip side of that, the sponsorship deals, the TV revenue, what happens is TV rights sort out what they're doing, who's getting what game, and basically they get a pick. So they pay for certain weekends, and on that weekend, a TV company will have the pick of which game they want for their TV slot. And it's just very, very unfortunate that Liverpool are a good watch. They've got a huge TV audience around the world. So I don't know which TV company it is off the top of my head that have got to get 12:30 game this weekend.
It's Sky. It's Sky this Saturday.
The Sky have got they get the bunch of fixtures. They look at the weekend, and I mean, there's only one fixture that you're going to pick off off the paper this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they've got first pick, and they go Liverpool. I can completely understand it. How you regulate that? There's got to be some kind of fair. I don't know now how you do it, but if you have one, you can't have the following 3 weeks or whatever it is. But the money and the revenue that these TV companies pay, they want the best game on their channel for their weekend that they've paid for, and that's how it happens. But from a manager's point of view, I can more than understand it.
Yeah, and I mean, for all his kind of megawatt smiles and everything else, Klopp can be as sour as the next manager when it suits him. But I'm 100% with Klopp and Paul on this completely. I think it's completely unfair. 13 times Liverpool have had that 12:30 slot in the last few years. Third international break in a row this season after the Wolves and Everton matches previously. I mean, there is a few, solid reasons for it. Man City playing the Champions League on Tuesday, so the broadcasters had to work around that fixture. The match couldn't be played on Sunday. Sky's choice would have been 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, and what Liverpool would have wanted would have been 5:30 slot on Saturday, but the police said no, that couldn't happen because they're fearful of clashes between fans at that time on a Saturday. That doesn't quite add up to me, because how is Sunday at 4:30 all right, but not Saturday 5:30? That seems a bit weird. I don't quite get that. In terms of fairness, completely unfair for Liverpool. Why are they getting the same? And their fans are absolutely outraged, and they have every right to be on this one. I think loads of times you get kind of meltdown from supporters groups over things that aren't that serious at all. But this does seem wrong. It does seem very unfairly skewed against Liverpool. And when you throw in the fact they've got those 4 South American players, yes, Liverpool chose to buy those players. Yes, they chose to buy McAllister in the summer to add to their already strong contingent, but I'm certainly not holding that against them. There's no way they should keep playing the 12:30s every time. In terms of the broadcasters, the TNT Sports have been having the 12:30 slot on Saturday, but Sky have got first pick for this weekend. And my understanding is they agreed with TNT Sport. They said they wanted the Liverpool Man City match, which I totally understand. And they agreed with TNT Sports. They take that 12:30 slot on Saturday. It kind of ruins it, doesn't it? Because these games are much better, I think, with the lights on, with later in the day, either night match or early evening kickoff, late afternoon. I think lunchtime does kind of spoil the spectacle, slightly spoils the intensity. And I mean, any Liverpool fan who watched them play in the first half against Wolves, when they're absolutely abysmal, much better in the second half. But I think, Lewis, you wear the red and white scarf sometimes, don't you? I think you remember that first half performance is horrible, and I think Liverpool fans will be worried about Saturday for sure.
We're all rivalry aside, and from a neutral point of view, I think the Etihad is somewhere that Liverpool go, and they never ever play well. I think as Liverpool fans feel generally, the Etihad is not somewhere that Liverpool go to and feel very confident.
I slightly agree. I thought last season in the League Cup, straight after the World Cup, I thought Liverpool played well in that game, even though they lost it, and it was an absolutely brilliant game. And Liverpool didn't play well for about 3 months after that match, but I thought that performance was a good one, and then they completely capsized for the following months. But apart from that, they've been, and I think, was it the season Firmino scored the winner in the 2-1? That was quite a while way back now.
Gents,
Paul, go on, Paul. You say
the original point about the early kickoffs on a Saturday. I think we, as a Premier League and this country, listen, from a neutral point of view now, you look at all of our teams in the Champions League. Regardless of who your affiliation is, I like to see British clubs do well in the Champions League, regardless of who it is at times. I think we're very, very guilty of not helping our teams in the Champions League re-kick-off times. You look at other countries across Europe with the Champions League, they will postpone games, they will delay games, they will knock games back a day to help their teams that are in the Champions League. There is none of that from the Premier League, nothing. Regardless of whether you play a Tuesday, Wednesday, or how far you travel, if you're down to play at 12:30 on a Saturday, you play. And as a Premier League, I think we can do more.
Well, I mean, what would your suggestion be, though, Paul, for this match? I mean, with Man City scheduled to play Tuesday evening in the Champions League, what should the Premier League be doing?
Well, it's between the TV right, the company TV rights, and the Premier League. I mean, it's huge, a huge difference. As silly as it sounds, preparation time, whether it's a 12:30 on a Saturday or a 4:30, 5 o'clock on a Saturday, makes such a difference for a manager. You touched on it there when you talked. We used to hate playing. You ask any footballer, the majority, 95%, will hate playing at 12 o'clock on a Saturday.
Is that because of the nutrition side? You've got to get up at a different time, you've got to eat
all the build-up. You have your own general build-up, and there's normally at this time of year, it's not a great day. It's cold. There's a low sun that sits over the top of the stand. It affects the game. The fans are not quite up for it because they just got out of bed, had the breakfast, come into the stadium. It's not the same atmosphere. And when we talk about, it's a great game under lights on a night time, there's something about a little bit later in the day or a night time under lights. And very, very rarely do you get a good game at that time of day, an early kickoff. As players have the routine. You get up for breakfast at 8:30, and there's some of the lads trying to stuff spaghetti bolognese down the neck. There's some lads that are not having anything, just a coffee.
You've got to have surely that time of day.
Yeah, they're just not easy games to prepare for. They're really not. And coming off the back of the international games, if Jurgen Klopp gets his players back, what we do on Thursday, I mean, he's got a Thursday. They'll be doing a recovery day because the jet lag that comes into play as well. So he'll have his players back after 2 weeks away. He'll have them back on a Thursday where they'll have a recovery session in the gym. They'll have their ice baths. They'll have the massage. They'll come in Friday to prepare for a game Saturday. So they'll come home Thursday, home on Thursday night, Friday at the training ground in the morning. And then Friday night, Jurgen Klopp will take them away to a hotel again. So almost off an aeroplane, training ground, straight back to a hotel. And then 2 or 3 hours later, you're playing a game. The preparation is tough. But as a Premier League and a TV company, as the deal happens with the Champions League that City are playing on Tuesday, just giving them an extra few hours in the day does, believe it or not, make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this whole chat just reminds me of when Liverpool were away for the Club World Cup and we played Villa in the Cup and we put out the under-18s and we lost 5-0 at Villa Park. And it's that sort of thing that's just, it's so difficult to balance how, how actually...
As soon as you said his red and white allegiance, he's now referring to them as we.
I know, we. It's always...
I won't say any more than that. And one other thing, Paul, to mention, I think that's quite interesting. And again, I think this is interesting from a player's point of view, is that Chris Kavanagh's the referee. He's actually from a town 20 minutes down the road from the Etihad. Some fans online were joking and saying Chris Kavanagh's refereeing the game, Noel Gallagher's in charge of VAR. Did players ever take notice?
As long as it's not Liam in charge of VAR.
It's Noel instead.
Can they do any worse? Let's be honest.
Did players take notice, Paul, of where referees were from or potential any affiliations with clubs?
No, never. Personal differences with referees, certainly. You'd get certain referees you, as a player that you'd have had a run-in with the past, or he would have made a decision, or you'd have had a coming together and you didn't get on with him or whatever else, and you'd be like, oh no, he's reffing today, we're in for one today type thing. And there's other players that would get on with them. I don't think as a team, I mean, maybe if you had him a week before or 2 weeks previous as a collective and they were terrible, you'd kind of get into his ribs on the pitch. By the way, you owe us one. You remember that a couple of weeks ago? You owe us one today. And you plant that seed in the referee's head. And subconsciously, they're human beings. And all of a sudden, if you're on the pitch thinking, yeah, I did wrong a couple of weeks ago, you might make a decision or something might just trigger in the game that goes your way. Do you know what I mean? In your favour. But as a collective, I don't think there's any kind of feeling towards players and referees having specific vendettas.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.